started.
Go.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another exciting Vobes One-Eyed Kenobi Showbie with the lovely Julia.
And the lovely Richard.
It's very nice to see you here on the 22nd of September, 2001.
Is it the mime show this evening, apparently?
The mime show? Why is that? What, no volume? You should have volume. What's the matter?
No, other people have sound. That's
yes,
right,
they found. It's all going. It's all all working.
Try refreshing your
Turn it off
window.
and turn it on again. Shake it up and feed it to the dog. Don't let the kids play with these things. It's a nightmare. Once they get hold of them, woof, it's all broken up. You had a problem with your computer the other day, didn't you?
I did.
Some child did a mischief.
He tried to do a defibrillation to it, and it got zapped and died a death.
You might need to unpack that so they know exactly what you mean.
Well, you see, he got a phone charger which was plugged in
to the mains,
and then put it into a USB port in the front of my computer, which obviously made connection and zapped my computer.
So it probably burnt out the motherboard.
I believe so.
Oh, the motherboard on the mothership, it's not like it used to be. I the new.
Och, I the new.
We're doomed, Captain Mannering. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another exciting show. We have videos in tonight's show, which is very nice.
Videos?
Yay, videos. You have a list of them.
So we have John Fox.
Yes, John Fox in person.
Yep.
He is playing on a guitar.
That would be fun if you came in and played for us.
Yes, he's just waiting in the wing.
Don't tease everyone.
No, sorry about that.
It's going to be a disappointment.
Yes, I'm sorry about that.
We also have Ray.
Ray of Hope. He is in search of England.
And then there's obviously the wonderful Bernie.
Ah, good old Bernie.
Everybody's wonderful, by the way.
He is out there on another bridge. Not the River Kwai this time. Not over the River Thames. Not over the River Arun. Not over the River Ouse. Not over the River... River Severn. He's back on the Tillingham.
And we also have a video from Bonnie.
And Bonnie, yes. She is, I forget where I put it. Oh, Stammer Park. Stammer Park. So there we go. That's it. Very exciting video. We've been there.
We've been there.
Yeah. We've taken little Joe there.
Yeah.
We must go and get him at some point.
Have we taken him there?
Didn't we go there once? He was in the pushchair. Tiny little baby. Do you remember? Looked in the pushchair. Remember? Oh no, maybe I'm thinking of the other park.
I think you were thinking of the other park.
Which I can't remember. It's another big park near Brighton.
Yeah.
Just on the Downs. Whereas Stammer Park that's the one with the well that haunted you.
Yes.
Yeah.
The donkey wheel.
The donkey wheel, in which the ghost of the donkey past was still there. I've just come back from Suffolk, ladies and gentlemen. I didn't tell anybody I went away because I didn't want burglars. As nice as they are, I just didn't fancy them. So I had to slip out when the door was shut. So apologies for not having a show on Monday.
How did you do that?
What?
Slipping out with the door shut.
I climbed out the window.
Fair point.
Yeah, see, I shinned up a drain pipe, climbed out the window, got over on the roof, skirted down the lightning rod, and made it away in a cart and horses.
An horse and cart.
Yeah, the horse and cart. That's it. That was just the one horse then.
I've never heard someone put the cart before the horse.
No, but you can do that. You don't get very far.
No.
That's the trouble.
No.
Unless they walk backwards.
Quite.
If you put the cart in front of the horse walks backwards, but you're likely to go all over the place and not in the direction that you actually want.
Slightly more complicated to steer.
Oh,
yeah. Anyway,
definitely.
moving on.
Complicated it is. Anyway, it's nice to be back here in these four walls, for I've been living in a van.
You have.
I've been living in a van, yippity yippity. I can tell you what, I must have upset all the locals. Wherever I went, I was singing in my van. I opened up the windows and I went...
Sat on a ferret the other day.
No, I should have done. I was going, give me cornetto, delicious ice cream. Come and get your ice cream. Mr. Baldy here. Hey, he said, Mr. Baldy, why would you lie, little child? Lies a little Baldy ice cream. And I got one of those round scoops, put it into a cornet, and there was an ice cream, bit like this, with glasses and two little cherries for eyes. And the poor little kids went away going, what is this horrific mess that you've come up with? I wanted a Mr. Whippy. I took my belt off and I was flailing it around, and then I got arrested and spent 4 hours in a police jail. That's jail spelt G-O-A-L.
Isn't it G-A-O-L? Oh, I did
yes,
that thing
I spelled
again.
gold, didn't I? G-A-O-L. Yes, as opposed to J-A-I-L.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, the American version.
Is
I'm
it?
not sure. I'm not sure.
Don't
Maybe
know.
somebody can tell me. The jail is the J-A-O-L. Yeah, I did gold, didn't I? It's funny when people read that. Do you ever seen that people read jail, the old-fashioned English jail,
It's
and
like
don't know,
Gale.
and they go goal. Or Gale.
Gale.
And
Something like that.
up your gay. Anyway, never mind all that. It's nice to be back here in the four walls, and tonight what's the matter?
I'm just having a face palm reset.
Yes.
It's all right.
See, life is back to normal.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so that pleasant emptiness that was here on Monday when you were thinking, what did you do with yourself, by the way? Because normally you're on the Monday show with me.
Yes,
Yes,
yes, I just
sat at home and pined.
I sat on a ferret.
Oh, you sat on a ferret. Now you came up with a name for the ferret.
Yeah, Faye.
Faye.
Don't know why. Sat on a ferret the other day. I sat on a ferret. Its name was May. May?
May. Was
Faye?
it May or Faye?
I don't know. I said Faye, didn't I?
Faye, yeah, because Faye
I think
Dunaway...
I meant May at the time. But
When you
it
said
doesn't
Faye, I said Faye Dunaway. Faye
Oh,
Dunaway with the ferret.
Yeah.
Throttled it.
Nice.
No, sat on it. Anyway, lovely to see you. Thanks very much. Now, we have an institution here, and that is the roll call. So I wonder if we've got enough people to do it. Yes, there's about 84 concurrent viewers eating currants, which is very nice if you can do it. Rectory Wall Gardens. Now, there's a novelty. I wonder who that is. He says, while jail was... Oh, it's Sean James Cameron, of course. While jail was the spelling of choice for discerning Britons for much of the 19th and 20th century, by the 21st, jail had replaced jail in the British National Corpus. Can anybody tell me what a corpus is? What is a corpus? I mean...
It's a group of people, isn't it?
Is it?
A company.
Oh, I see. Thank
As
you.
such.
Yes, I've seen it, but it's one of those words. You know when you read things and you go, oh, "There's that word." Yeah, just skip over it.
Body of people, I think.
Ah, a body.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Please
okay.
do. Not you.
No.
Don't you correct me.
No.
Ew.
I'll
bite your head off.
Will you?
No.
Bite my whole head.
No.
Off.
Would if I could, but I can't.
Off my whole neck.
I wouldn't if I could. But I
There'd
can't
be a lot
anyway.
of blood.
Doesn't matter.
I wouldn't want to get my red shirt stained. Oh no, it'd be all right.
So
Give it a whirl. Anyway, so shall we do the roll call and get that over and done with?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's, when I say get it over and done with, it's the highlight of the show, ladies and gentlemen, as I know you know, as indeed you do. Is it like a sea lion? It could be. I don't know what he's talking about. So, the lovely Julia needs to whisk her way over to the other side of the studio. And, of course, we do that in the time-honoured way of me finding a piece of appropriate...
What a moment. The British National Corpus is a 100 million word collection of samples of written and spoken language from a wide range of sources. Designed to represent a wide cross-section of British English from the later part of the 20th century, both spoken and written.
Wikipedia
Thanks,
is
Sean.
available at wikipedia.com.
At SeanJamesCameron.com.
Yes, for a small fee, you can cut and paste it out and send it to Sean James Cameron, which is marvellous. Anyway, Mr. Mocky says, Corpus? Isn't there Corpus Christi?
Yes, someone else said that.
Yeah, oh, did they? There you go.
That's the body of Christ.
Oh, so it's a body of something, a corpus, like
Yes.
a body of people.
That's as I understand it. It's Latin, isn't it?
Is it?
I believe so.
Ah, well, I don't understand Latin. It's a foreign language.
I don't
You're allowed to
understand
say
as much
foreign.
Latin as I'd like to.
Ah, QED. That's just initials. Right, so over to the other side.
I'm trying to remember what that stands for, but I can't.
Q every day.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what it is at Morrison's. Q every day. QED. Unless you get in really early. But who wants to do that when all the stuff is fresh? You want to get in when it's all a bit tired and weepy. When Morrison's opened, by the way, just as a matter of, here's an incidental thing, we had the Co-op where I was for a long, long time, and the Co-op was lovely because they did all sorts of funny things. They did white goods. They did, I think they did lawnmowers. I'm not quite sure, but don't quote me on that bit. But they had a whole range. If anything that you lost or went wrong in the house, you just nip over to the Co-op, and there it was. You know, if you needed, somebody died, they'd do you a funeral. You could get a nice coffin from them. Turn it up the other way, it's a coffee table. It's very easy to make the mistake, of course. But they had everything. And then they decided they were going to sell out to Morrison's, and Morrison's came along. And then when Morrison's opened, they had their, what's that green stuff? Vegetables. They had all those lovely vegetables and things, and they put dry ice in it, or some sort of mist that came, and it gave it this really magical feel. And you would go in, and there were like different varieties of chilies, 100 different types of onions, and everything you could think of. They really pulled the boat out, and we thought, wow, this is going to be great. Think of the meals that you can make here. Just never ending. You want an exclusive, exquisite red object that had been grown in the ground with a yellow leaf on it. They add it, whatever that might be. Anyway, that lasted for 3 months.
Tomato.
Yeah, and then you had 2 types of tomato, just a couple of different types of potato, 1 type of chili, and now you go in, and not only that, you can barely buy anything loose. It's all bagged up. Oh, before it was all like this. You could weigh it out in a thing. It was lovely. And I knew as soon as that came, I said, this isn't going to last long in Worthing. This is more like your Islington, your elite up there who come in and want a little quaff of quiffy quap. Nice quaff of quiffy. And so now it's just, it's almost like nipping into Lidl and having a piddle.
QED, quod erat demonstrandum, if I pronounce that correctly.
Yeah, that sounds about right. What does it mean, QED? That is a fact. It's something like that, because people...
As demonstrated or something?
Oh,
like
as demonstrated here.
I can't remember. Anyway, should we do the roll call?
Yes, let's do the roll call. Here she goes, ladies and gentlemen, running across the floor to the other side of the stewed. Bit long, this bit, isn't it? Hang on a minute. Fade, 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 fade. Beautifully faded there, ladies and gentlemen. On the other side of the studio, slightly dark by the looks of things. I'm going to just put the thing up. There we are. You're a bit brighter now to us, so we can see you. I need to turn your microphone up and the other one down. So there we are. All technical stuff here.
I forget wiggle doesn't work.
Oh, is the computer? Sorry about this, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, so smooth.
So it's so highly practiced here, ladies. It's not like we haven't done a show for it. We missed a show out, and now we've forgotten how it all goes together.
I don't think we've never done a show in our lives before.
Yes. Now, I need to check that we can hear you. Is the microphone working?
Hello. Is the microphone working?
Yeah, it's definitely working. You can hear that rumble there. That's a good old dynamic microphone rumble, that is. So, ladies and gentlemen.
Could you pass me my phone, please? Because...
Oh, yes, of course.
Even though you put this on live chat initially, I think because the computer went to sleep.
Oh, yeah. When the computer goes to sleep, it forgets everything.
Yeah.
It dreams of chips and...
Oh, and I still don't have the right at the beginning. Oh.
It dreams of valves and, days when things were run by rubber bands. Anyway. So, ladies and gentlemen...
Run by rubber bands?
Yeah, things in the old days was run by rubber bands. We didn't have a prime minister. We didn't have a government. It was all rubber bands. Ladies and gentlemen, the roll call.
So tonight, this wonderful Wednesday evening, we have in the house Daniel Watkins, Audrey Forbes Hamilton. Oh, can I claim on my insurance? For the computer... I don't know. I could look into that. That's a good idea. Thank you. Sensible Paul says, yes, Bernie, love the history you find. Andrew Norris, what ho, Vobesters? Henry V. Agincourt, hello all. Jeff and Mandy, hello to both of you and hello to the other Vobesters. Kerry Baldwin says, hello, evening, Andrew. Michael White, a Norse is a Viking horse. See what you did there. Colonel Cragratty, I see your hair matches your dress and almost Richard Shett. Oh yeah, I need to purple this again. It's horrible. Who else have we got? Oh, Mr. Mocky, Linda Kane. Hi folks, all well I hope. What great weather we've had the last couple of days. Isn't that true? It's been lovely. A bit chilly in the mornings, but then it warms up beautifully.
Beautifully. Oh, so beautiful.
Or as Sean James Cameron might say, beautifully.
Yes.
I didn't do it any justice. Rectory Wall Garden, hello Sean, is in the house.
Hello Sean.
Were you singing Living in a Box when you were staying in your van?
Oh, how does that go?
I don't know.
No. Oh, what's the one with the ticky-tacky?
Boxes, little boxes,
that's it.
Little boxes made of ticky-tacky, and I can't remember any more of the song, so I shut up.
Fair enough.
Looking for a new name. Ron Langley is in the house.
Hello, Ron Langley in the house.
Alan Sandell. Yes, USA changed a lot of spelling to make it easier on migrants.
Oh, right.
Lord Geoffrey Harrison, did you know why the jail is called the Slummer? It's the way they shut the door. Yeah. Oh, do you remember in Arundel
Yes.
when we went down into the old jail?
Yes.
And we pretended you slam me in. And oh my gosh, that's a horrifying sound. Is it? Oh,
Big heavy metal door.
shivers down the spine.
Yes.
And the rest.
And yes.
I don't know what rest.
It went down the other part of the body that's not the spine.
I think it went down the spine, up the spine, and down the spine again.
Yes. Spine chilling.
Yeah. Tingling, even.
Yes. Who's next?
Who's next? We have John B. Greetings, Earthlings.
Hello, John B.
Oh dear. She's off on one tonight.
Good.
Good. Who else do we have here? Tim T. Evening. Sorry, late. The late arrival. You're
No
all
worries.
right. You're all right. Have I said Michael White? I'm saying Michael White again. Mark Burgess. Evening. I'm trying to stay out of my sister's way. She is rather annoyed because of a message I had to pass on that she didn't like. Oh, dear.
You see, you can't shoot the messenger.
Well, you can, but it's a bit pointless.
You can shoot the messenger.
But it's a bit pointless.
Very pointless.
Have I missed any names here? John B, Daniel Watkins, Mr. Mocky, Linda Kane, Station Master Choice, Jeff and Mandy, Past, and the Divvy stamps too.
And the what stamps?
Divvy stamps.
Dibby?
Divvy, D-I-V-I.
Oh, Divvy. Oh, yeah,
We're talking
everybody
about the
needs
co-op,
their
I
Divvy
think.
stamps. Was it Divvy stamps at the co-op? Bit like Green Shield stamps.
I guess so.
Yes, that's right. You get the co-op stamps, and maybe they were called the dividend. Dividend, that's right. That's why they were called divvy stamps. That's right, the dividend stamps. Yes, yes. In those old days when you didn't have plastic cards and all of that, you could stick them in the old album, put them in the family album. Album.
Alan Sandell is asking, how is this show going on the 22nd? Oh, I see. It's the TH rather than ND.
Yeah, it's just
Minor thing.
just a
The
thing.
G Monster is in the house. Is this an episode of the Waltons this evening with all these hellos from everyone saying hello, so and so, so and so, and so and so.
Hello, Jim Bob.
That's funny. John B says, I don't like sprouts, just saying.
Fair enough. That's nice. Who does?
Daniel Watkins says, nope, I am polite, that's all. I don't know what you're referring to there.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Simon is in the house. Dreaming cats. Oh, yes.
Yes, I dreamt about cats as well. Gosh, there must be a thing going on about cat dreaming. It's a weird dream. Then the funny thing is, the next night that I was in my tin box, where I was, you could hear owls hooting, woo woo, like that, woo woo. And I said to Windmill Bob, because I was at Windmill Bob's house, and he said, oh yes, there's deer, they'll come in the garden and all around the place. And I dreamt that these roe deer, oh dear, these roe deer had, like the cats, had got into the van. It was very vivid dreams I have. And there was at least two of them in the van. Of course, in reality, one in the van would take up so much space. And then if it kicked off and was frightened, I mean, I would be battered by its great big long fangs and its swishing tail made of metal. So it was obviously a fallacy. So don't take that as gospel. That didn't occur. That was just a dream. But yes, I seem to be dreaming of things creeping into the van. Maybe it's because I'm slightly worried that these things would get into the van. Like Gough. Can you imagine Gough getting in there? Oh, Van Gogh.
Oh, God.
He must haunt the place. Anyway, back to the script.
Anyway, we have Clive Waterfall. Hi all, late in, just back from a day out in the Chichester area. Oh, I hope you had a lovely time.
Yes, I hope you did.
Past says, love your lippy, Julia, and also Richard's shirt. It's a very lovely shirt.
Thank you very much.
And
Very
thank you for the
kind.
lip.
Very kind indeed.
Who else have we got here? We have, I've said Simon, Woody Jenny.
Woody Jenny, nice to see you.
Lovely to see you, darling. Any new names cropping up? Oh, Kathy B.
Lord Jeffrey, he's there.
I've said Lord Jeffrey.
Oh, beg your pardon.
I know I'm rubbish. I'm not that rubbish. Well, I'm just rubbish. Sean James Cameron, you're on the other account now. Little brown bags coming back into our local supermarket. You could swear they have invented sliced bread with all their excitement. Cool. Oh dear, it is silly, isn't it? Ron Langley, glad I stayed with British Gas for our gas and electric. Cool. Anna Jones, you missed me. No, I didn't. I just didn't miss you. You're here.
You're there.
You're
know.
Here.
Yeah. Me, Paul Cockerell says.
Paul Cockerell is here.
Yes, there we go. Is that everyone?
John B. and Kerry Baldwin, just to make sure I've made sure I said anything. Yeah. I think it was.
Great. Right. Lovely Julie's got to make her way back now to the bench that we call the desk. Something like that, anyway. And there it is. So I know Tanya played the last few bars on that. Are you actually coming? You're in a floating mood.
Just making my way.
Oh, yes. Very much making the way. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the other side of the studio here.
Mel Spin Spirit says hi from Ben and me.
Wait. I've got to adjust knobs. Okay, knobs have been adjusted.
Mel Spin Spirit says hi from Ben and Mel. Ben and Mel. Hi, Mel.
Mel Spin
Ben
Spirit.
and Mel.
Nice to have you, Ben and Mel. Thanks very much for coming along and joining us live. If you've never been here before, if anybody's never been here before, who knows what's going to happen? We don't really write a schedule of stuff, but we just react to whatever's going on. People send in videos. We have a good laugh. You can call in on 0793 4746 790. And that's kind of it. Sometimes we have a theme, but we haven't really got a theme today. However, I was thinking, as I was driving back, I was listening to the news about all these gas prices going up. Has anybody got one of these companies that have gone bust? And have you had to change your electricity company? Do you know, I thought to myself, I'm going to be all right because I don't have gas anymore, got rid of gas. And I very rarely use electricity, although, of course, I'm using electricity in the studio here. And, of course, when I go out editing and when I do anything. But I thought I'm all right because I can cook my food on my Essie, which is a wood-burning stove. And I can dry my clothes from the heat from the Essie, which is a wood-burning stove. I can heat the house from, yes, you've guessed it, the Essie, which is a...
Bless you, the Essie.
Bless you, the Essie, a wood-burning stove. And I can cook my meals. There's one other thing. I can heat my water as well, so I can actually bathe my poor body, which I haven't been able to bathe my poor body for a couple of days because I've been living in a van. I've been doing flannel washes, but let's not talk about that. Naked man in a tin can is naked man in a tin can, naked man in a tin can. Not a good sight, really.
Let's not make a tune out of that one.
No, we won't do that. Mark Birch is probably already...
Well, actually, I didn't see David Vad today.
David Vad's too busy. Naked man in a tin can, washing his bits with a flannel and... Yeah. Anyway, so I thought... Pan. Yeah, flannel.
By the way,
pan.
Val Pragnall is here, and so is Alison O'Brien.
Oh, brilliant. Sorry, if you weren't mentioned, do write your name on the back of a £20 note and send it to us.
Cool, that's gone down 30 quid.
Yeah. Everyone's on a tight budget these days because Taxman is taxing everyone to the hilt. Anyway, my point was I was trying to get out the fact I thought I was going to be all right. I wouldn't get into this price hike of all our electricity and gas because I had all this wood. And then I rang up John, my woodman, and said, John, I need to order some logs. And he said, oh, yeah, I hope you don't need them before November. I said... Good joke. Yes, I'm running out now and I need some logs. He went, I can get to you by November the 13th.
Sheesh.
That's like 6 weeks away. So I will be chopping up the furniture, I think, burning the doors, anything. This studio, for example, the desk and stuff, in order to keep my poor little withered body nice and warm. Poor old me.
Poor old you. Shaw Taylor is just suggesting what is it to be English?
Shaw Taylor.
For a theme.
Yes, nice. Keep them peeled, mate. Keep them peeled. What is it to be English? What is it to be English? Well, this is my quest on the Bald Explorer. I think everybody has a different take on what English means. Some people won't even acknowledge that English is a thing. They'll call themselves British. And some people, of course, come from other parts of the globe, or their parents did, and then they were brought up here. And I just think this is a conundrum, isn't it? Because how do you identify? Let's just work this as a little exercise, and please don't call me a racist. But you can call me a racist if you want. It's just a word, and I'm not going to get upset. So imagine that you were born in another part of the world. No, hang on a minute. Imagine that your parents were born in another part of the world, and they travelled together and settled in England, and then they had you, and you were born. Are you English or not? That's the question I would like to ask, because I thought when I was a kid it was always that, well, you are the nationality where you're born, but I don't think that's the case, is it?
No, I think it's complicated, and there's far more factors that should be taken into account than just that.
Because if my parents were born in England and were, for intents and purposes, as much as you can determine, English, and they went to Japan and they had me in Japan, I wouldn't think of myself as being Japanese. And I would imagine that the Japanese themselves would also not think of me as being Japanese, because I come from English heritage. So it's a very confusing thing. So I think that's why some people say, well, we're British, but we're not English.
Apparently Boris Johnson was born in New York.
So is he American then? But his parents are English. So, there's that same query. Kerry Baldwin says that my DNA test gave me 83% Sussex, and 100% English. I'm not quite sure what people make out of these DNA things, because I believe that a lot of Westerners will find that they're all sort of different parts of Europe anyway, because of the original movement of people, the Neanderthals.
Neanderthal.
What she said, and then the Homo sapiens, who obviously were Italian. Aye, we're Italian, we Homo sapiens, and we take our Mamma Mia with her and a big pod of DNA. I think she got it from C&A. Do you remember C&A? Used to get my clothes. My mum would take me to Man at C&A.
Apparently Boris's grandfather was Turkish, says.
So there we are, a Turkish and American. You see, this is where people get a bit, they get a bit mixed up. So then what do you say if somebody is, one parent is Turkish, God knows what his mother is, and then he is born in New York. I mean, where you're born doesn't affect your DNA, does it? It's a landing point.
My younger
you just go...
I learned to do that recently.
She learned to do that?
I could not do that.
She couldn't do it. I was doing this and she said, what are you doing? I said, I'm doing... And she said, how the hell do you do that? I've never been able to do it. So I had to sit her down and say, right, today we're going to have a lesson on popping.
On cheek popping. Why not?
So now she can pass it down to her children. So, yeah. The trouble is now you can't... Once she starts, it's a bit like with the bubbles, you see. It's bubbles 1 second.
Oh, dear.
Pops the next. Yeah. John B says, my dad owned an ice cream van, so technically I'm half Italian. There you go.
Elaine Whitelock suggests dual citizenship if you're born in another country. What I was going to say was, my little brother was actually born in Saudi Arabia.
Right.
And he's got a Saudi Arabian birth certificate.
So is he an Arab?
No.
See,
he doesn't even have dual citizenship. I think... At one point, he could have claimed dual citizenship.
So citizenship, I can understand that because you are a citizen of somewhere. But you see, in my quest for England and Englishness, is this is a concept problem, isn't it? Because it's got messy as more people come in, and there's more people from different parts of the world, and they're all claiming that they're from here or they're part of here, and I don't want to denigrate. Is that the right word? I don't want to upset. Denigrate. Demijohns. I don't want to demijohn anyone's jars. So so what I'm trying to really get to say is people's version of what English is very different.
Vastly
Yeah, from
diverse.
person to person. But I suppose mine is more going back in time to roots of Englishness, because that's how I was brought up. You know, my schooling, my environment when I was a kid, the history that I was taught, and what I suppose one's principles and manners, mannerisms and things, and all those old films.
Judith said, I consider myself British as I'm a mixture of English, Scottish, Irish and Welsh with a little bit of Norwegian.
Wow.
Yep.
See, the more you find out about yourself, the more, the less you know, isn't it? Because, you know, you might, for all you know, when you were small, you might just thought, well, I'm just a little English girl. And then as you start to learn, oh, wait a minute, there's a bit of me that's Scottish, there's a bit of me that's all those other things you said. And then that's all quite confusing.
Kerry Baldwin says, mine shows me that for at least 6 generations, her DNA thing, all my ancestors were born in England. Before that, who knows?
Yeah. Well, this is, and there's another question. How many generations back does it take before you are part of the country? So again, going on to that thing, I go to Japan, but I'm English. I meet up with another English person or I take another English person with me. We do that thing you do at night time, and 9 months later out pops a baby. That baby grows up. Now you might argue that baby's English but living with a citizenship of Japanese,
Having siblings.
but then she has a baby and out they pop, and then one of those babies years later, because obviously babies haven't learnt to do the necessary and haven't got the equipment ready, thank goodness, otherwise golly, would be like rabbits here. They have a baby. How many generations is it? And let's say that all of those little Vobes that sprung from the one that I sprouted have stayed in that country. How many generations is it then until the Japanese or whoever it was, whatever country, would have to accept and say, oh yeah, you are now one of us. You are a Japanese, you know, like a thoroughbred. So Kerry Baldwin, 6 or so generations back, you wouldn't argue. I would have, not argue. Couldn't, even if the 7th generation was French and Flemish or something, you wouldn't then say, oh, you're not English.
According to the comments, Boris Johnson's mother has just died, and he's also 5th cousin to the Queen.
I hope that wasn't as a result of me mentioning his mother. I hope she didn't just go, oh...
Yeah.
Too much.
I'm sure you do not have that much power in that way.
Good. Otherwise, it would be a nightmare. Yes, I did actually hear that before, that his mother had died. Yes, so who knows? Anyway, most English are of the Hapolo group.
Where are you reading that?
I'm reading it. Michael White. Most English are of the Hapolo group. The
I don't know what that's.
I don't know.
Never heard of that.
Polo. I mean, I know people like polo. Do 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 do. People like polo. Do you remember those adverts?
Nope.
It was a whistle. I'm not very good at whistling on demand. I never knew if that tune was made. Probably that tune was made for polo. They used to whistle that tune. It was a lovely little tune.
Don't think I've ever heard it before.
And then you just got this, people like polo. And I thought that's a very gentle advert. I hate these adverts that give you the instruction, buy it today, go and get one. No, I refuse. Whereas just a very simple message like, people like polo. Yeah, I suppose people do actually. Come to think of it, I like polo. Do you know what? Blow this, I'm going to go and buy one. And then, off they go. I think that's far, far better advertising than telling you what to do. Because I resist. If there's an advert that tells me something, I will just do the opposite. No, I'm not buying it because you told me.
Elaine Whitelock says, I think it's where you're born. And Shaw Taylor says, I feel English is a thing. It's about love and care.
But could you not say that about any other nationality? People might say that's about love and care,
yeah,
isn't it?
yeah.
I love people and I care for some of them.
And Audrey Forbes Hamilton says, I think we're getting mixed up between ethnicity and residency.
Yeah. Well, the citizen is residency, isn't it?
Yeah.
But how would you define ethnicity these days? But this is what I'm saying.
Well, ethnicity is down to your bloodline, isn't it? From
yes, but it gets very
what
confusing.
DNA you have.
I mean, I know we've had people, we've had immigrants of some numbers, short numbers, coming into England in the past. But now that we have quite a lot, you can imagine the ethnicity is going to get mixed up rather a lot. That it then starts to think, well, what? And forget that it's England that we're talking about. Any country that people come in from all sorts of the world in large numbers, so that it mixes up the DNA of everybody. That must change the ethnicity. Then how do you define anybody, whether they're a member of a clan or not? It gets very confusing.
Very confusing.
I'm very confused, as you can actually hear in the timbre of my voice.
Sean James Cameron says, I just emailed you because of my YouTube channel. I was asked if I wanted a free DNA profile. I've sent you my results. Seems a waste of time if you ask me.
Okay, Sean James Cameron, let's have a look at your, what's his name? Hang on, we're going to bring it up on the screen.
While you're doing that, Station Master's Choice says, trouble is they don't sell polos singly. You can't buy just one, only a tube.
Oh, yes. You have to buy the whole damn packet. So here we go. Sean James Cameron, you are 74.7% Irish, Scottish and Welsh, 14% Baltic, 7% Italian, 7.5, sorry, Italian, and 3.8 Iberian. So
where's Iberia?
Well, down in Spain and Portugal, because that's in green, you see.
Oh, I see.
Italy is where Italy is, and Latvia is the Baltic. And Scottish and what have you is
I got that.
Is the Ochai the New place. Ochai the New, Jimmy. So that's interesting. Now, just say that again. He wanted a YouTube channel, so they gave him a...
No, because he has a YouTube channel.
Yes.
He was asked if he wanted a free DNA profile, and that was that.
No one's ever asked me. Who do that? YouTube?
I have no idea.
Did YouTube offer that to you? No one. I wonder. How would they know? Did you have to spit into a tub or something?
It's probably a swab thing. Swab your mouth and then put it in a tube and send it off.
That's all you get. Just one pay. Yes, sounds like a bit of a duff thing. Did you have to provide any saliva for that, or just a fiver? See what I did there?
It's not really as accurate as they claim it to be.
No.
It's just a vague idea, really.
Yeah.
It's a gimmick.
It's a gimmick.
It's a gimmick. What do you think, Kerry?
I was listening to something. What was I listening to? I can't remember now. I was listening to something. They were talking about in the old days whether astrology was as accurate or not accurate, whether it had any bearing on reality or not. Astrology. Now, you think of modern day astrology, it's a whole load of bunkum. Now, I realise there'll be some people out there who believe that whatever the stars tell you, you must do. Like, get a vaccine passport. When they tell you at the BAFTAs, sorry, not those sort of stars, the alignment of the stars will make an influence on your life. And clearly, in today's world, that's a whole load of bunkum. However...
Well, if it is, it's because we're not using the same calendar system.
Yeah, but no, this was interesting. This was interesting. If you go back hundreds of years ago and would able to take somebody's day of birth and the place of birth, the chances are those people who were born on that day in the same place would have very similar traits. And the reason is because people didn't move around very much. If there was a plague, or if there was an illness, or if there was influences, the chances are if they're both born in the same village or a very similar village in the south of England, a lot of life would have been quite similar. And so the influences on them would not be very different. So they might believe certain things the same way, be indoctrinated, as it were. They believe certain things, and the chances are they're eating similar foods so that would affect how they grew up. And I thought that was a great theory, because it was all down to where you're born. And if a lot of people are born in the same place, chances are they're all going to be under the same influence, and they may believe the same stuff. They're eating the same foods, or lack of foods, lack of diets, and things like that. So I thought that was quite good.
Cool. Kerry Baldwin, in relation to the DNA test question I asked her, it depends on the test, the results you get, and each company gives you results that fit the database they hold. Yes, I mean that's kind of what I meant. Is it's not as accurate as they'd like it to be, because they can only do it upon what information they've already got in their database.
And where do they get?
I don't think they link all their data, which would make sense. But where does this data come from? Has somebody just made it all up, and and then you just, it's kind of a bit like the Ernie, Ernie, the premium bonds that it's a hit and miss that you'll actually come out with anything that closely resembles you, and who would know? I mean, how can you challenge it? So, Kerry, if you come back with your bit of paper that says all of this about you, how would you challenge that? And go, well, wait a minute, I don't believe this. Could you? Are you able to challenge that? Say, well, no, I'm more Scottish than that, Yeah, that's a good point. Kerry says the people who buy the DNA tests are the data. That's it. Yeah.
The people who buy.
Yes, because everyone who puts who puts their DNA in.
Oh, I see. So the more people who.
Yeah,
it builds up a bigger picture.
Mm-hmm. There are other interesting and comical comments out here. Audioforms Hamilton, I don't believe in horoscopes. I'm a typical Capricorn.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
And John B says, if astronomy is the wise mother, then astrology is the foolish daughter.
Oh.
Sage Master's Choice says, Jupiter's passed through Orion and come into conjunction with Mars. Saturn is reeling through infinite space to its preordained place in the stars, and I gaze at the planets in wonder. It's
just language, isn't it? It's very beautiful language. What it means.
So you haven't spent time, I've had dreams where I've been out in space and watching stuff happen, and stars explode and black holes implode and things like that. You've never had that kind of dream?
No, but then you like things like Star Wars and Star Trek, and so you're more tuned into seeing space scenes. In a way,
this is going to sound stupid and crazy, but in a way, I think it's deeper than that for me. If I remember right, you don't really believe in out-of-body experiences. Is that right?
Well, I've never had one. So it's very difficult to believe in something that you haven't had. I mean, if enough people tell you they've had that something's happened, if 10 people tell me they've seen a ghost and they all describe it identical, and they're 10 people who don't know each other as far as you know, then you can sort of go, wait, there's a hypothesis here that there might be something, because how would they know? But just people saying out of body experiences, you can sort of think about it and go, yeah, it could be a thing, but it's never happened to me, so how do I trust it?
Oh yes.
Have you had them?
What, out of body experiences? Yeah, I believe so. And I actually, I'm not sure. Well, it felt more like an out of body experience when I was having those dreams, seeing the stars and everything. But anyway, Ray of Hope said a while back that he has some wood that you can have.
Oh, Ray of Hope! I'll have to bring up my van.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Sorry I wasn't able to squeeze that in earlier when he was on one.
On one. I was on fire, but not.
But thanks for repeating your comments, and for the people pointing it out as well.
Ray of Hope. He's saved my bacon.
Yeah.
Wood. I know the lovely Liz Housden has also got some logs that she wants me to go and get up there in Petersfield way. So I may not completely shiver. Hello, welcome to the Vobes Show. Who else has access to the DNA You supply these places.
Good question.
Ah,
Don't
yes.
know.
Could always live in the van. That's true. Poem continues a couple of off lines down.
Yes, the poem that he
Oh, I
wrote,
see.
and I read a bit.
Oh, that was a poem, was it?
I believe so,
What,
yes.
the Uranus is in conjunction with Mars's Saturn?
Not quite, but something like that.
Something like. Oh, I didn't realise that. Oh, okay. David Keel says, we've discovered a long-lost cousin from the Isle of Skye through DNA. It turned out my grandfather in the war had got a girl pregnant there. Uh-oh. Bit of a dark story. See, this is take the lid off a can of worms, can't it?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what would you do if somebody knocked on your door? Would you open it? I mean, out of curiosity, you might. And let's say that standing there was somebody in their 20s and said, "I am your daughter or son," or, depending on your age and it might be a bit weird, or I'm your brother's son, or I'm, what would you do? How would you believe them? What would you need from them to believe them? And would you trust them? I am your son, and I want my inheritance. What? I own this house. Get out.
But I ain't dead yet.
I ain't dead yet. Pretty close. Yes, I don't know what I would do if somebody turned up. But you hear these stories, don't you, where somebody, exactly that, suddenly says, I am connected to you, and your dad made somebody else, and how's your father? He's all right, thanks very much, but he's scattered in the house that's sold.
Scott FW says Aunt did a DNA test, took results to her neurologist, who sent her to Mayo Clinic. I think I've pronounced that wrong. Who said you've not had MS since you were 7. You actually have a clash between these 3 sets of ethnic genes. She's lots better now.
So hang on, unpack that. She
So
had
she's
a disease. She
yeah.
thought she had MS.
MS,
multiple sclerosis.
Since she was 7, she thought. But it's actually a clash between 3 sets of ethnic genes. So,
I see. So the genes are working against each other, and presumably then they were able to prescribe something.
Yeah.
And she's a lot better. Well, that's great news. But isn't that a shame that she's had to go on for 7 years believing and suffering from MS, or what she thought was MS? Alan Sandell says, in the USA, the police have access to DNA tests. Caught a mass killer from his relatives' DNA. Yeah, I mean, obviously there's going to be advantages and disadvantages to all technologies that come up. One disadvantage of glue, for example, is that you can glue yourself to tarmac on the M25 when you're actually... Did you hear about that? This bunch of insulate your homes people who glued themselves to the M25, causing chaos. And one woman was desperately trying... Is now paralysed because she couldn't get to hospital in time by these idiots. I mean, and there's probably many more stories like that. But the most annoying and hypocritical factor is that the guy who started the thing, who is the head honcho...
Is his house not insulated?
His house isn't even insulated. It's like the woman, one of the key women of the IKEA lot, not the IKEA. What do you call them? The Instant Rebellion people, the Rebellion Extinction people.
Extinction Rebellion.
Yeah, them. She drives a big guzzling diesel car, and on radio said, "Well, I would go to electric if somebody bought one for me." And it's like, wait, you're stopping people in London from going about their business, and if so these people are just so hypocritical. It's just, why does anybody take any of this seriously? It drives me mad. Aunt was diagnosed with MS when she was 7, multiple decades ago. Multiple sclerosis, multiple decades ago.
Yep.
That is terrible. 5 times, says Alan Sandell. Is that the 5 times they glued themselves?
No, I think it talked about the killer.
The killer. Oh, the killer 5 times.
One of the van drivers stuck on the motorway was an insulator who couldn't get to work to insulate houses.
Yes, you can imagine that there are many ironic occurrences that would have happened, but also some very desperate stories. People trying to get home, people missing their aeroplane, cancer patients missing cancer operations, all sorts, hundreds and hundreds of cars with people going somewhere, not for, some people going for a jolly, but some people going because they have a point of going, so they're not in their car sitting on the M25 for no reason whatsoever. And these idiots, I can't think how anybody can have sympathised with them. It must have completely backfired. But how...
Oh, 5 times they've blocked the M25.
Oh, 5 times they've blocked the M20. Yeah, exactly. Well, when I went to Suffolk, I had to look on the news in the morning to see where these perishing nuisance people were, so that they weren't going where I was. If they'd have been on the Queen Elizabeth Bridge, on the Dartford crossing, that would have been all right, because we could have just slung them over. That would have been hilarious. And apparently, here's the other thing, is there they are, blocking all these people, and if anybody got out their car and tried to move these people, they get arrested. I mean, the world has gone mad. The world has gone mad, where the care of these people... And then I heard somebody talking and said, well, the thing is, they've glued themselves, so if we try to move them with force, it's difficult because they might hurt themselves. Well, excuse me, don't glue yourself to tarmac knowing that the police are likely to lift you up. I mean, it's hard cheese, isn't it? Probably hard skin as well.
Yeah, it's probably ripped skin, actually, but...
Yeah. But then, you only need one person to go, oh my God, what have you done? And everybody else is going, quick, we'll go. We're going. I mean, if the army had just marched in and the tanks didn't stop, or if a truck driver just said, oh, sod this, and just drove over the first one, I don't think many of these people would do it. And if they really want to insulate everybody, go and do it in China, in Tiananmen Square, whatever it's called. Do it over then, we produce so... And here's the other thing.
And another thing.
Here's another thing. Now, here's a question I wanted to ask. I remember this. At the moment, all I could hear on the news is there's not enough CO2 for killing animals, which you have to do humanely if you want to eat meat and what have you, and packaging food. We need all this CO2, and apparently there's a shortage. And I'm thinking to myself, wait a minute. We've been stopping all this CO2 emissions all over the blooming place. No wonder there's a shortage of CO2. And now they're moaning that there's not enough CO2. And you think, well, hang on, how do you square this? Did you hear that? I mean, it's the most stupidest... So on the one hand, we're trying to stop CO2, and you've got Extinction Rebellion going, oh, the world is going to end, and the little doom gobbling is going up, how dare you? And on the other hand... The other people are going, well, we need the CO2 in order to... A whole load of different reasons. Why? For growing food, for packaging food, for killing animals humanely. I mean, it's an absolute mind-boggling nonsense.
Sean James Cameron says emergency law has come in today to stop them doing it with threat of jail.
Yes.
And the
Is that jail as in G-A-O-L?
The M25 mob are now sitting outside the Home Office.
Are they?
And they are campaigning to get the government to enforce green policies they want to impose anyway.
Who do they think they are? That we're a democratic country. If they want to do it, why don't they set up a party? The Insulation Party, get elected by most of the people, and then they can run their things. If they've got the people with them, that's the thing. But you don't... That's no way to run a country. We demand this. Oh, right, well, we'll just do that then. Because as soon as somebody else may go out and say, well, we demand you don't do it. Oh, well, we won't do it then. I mean, it is a complete and utter load of bonkers. What else have we got up there? Sensible
Paul was saying his name is on a chimney somewhere in Hailsham. I can't remember the exact...
How lovely. Love to have my name
his family name.
Oh, his family name is on a chimney. It'd be the same if your name happened to be...
Snacklofter wants me to prod you gently to prove this is live. Well, please call me Julia, though.
Yeah, Julia is her name. Prod
I'm not going to prod him. I'm going to do this.
Oh, eek, eekity beak. Oh, yeah, that's prodding. Thanks, Snacklofter.
Yeah,
we're live. We are live. We're not puppets. I wonder if one day that you'll say that you care, if you say you love me madly, I'll gladly be there like a puppet on a string. Ding, 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 ding. Ding. Oh, there we are. Good
Anyway.
old. Was that Dusty Springfield? I think it was.
I think I don't know actually.
Yeah, they must be living on benefits. Well, no, these people are. These are these sort of very middle class people. They're all these protesters. These seem to be these people who eat avocados and have that weird nut milk or whatever it is. Why aren't they at work? Exactly. They haven't got any work. Why aren't they going out? They should set themselves up as a cheap insulation company. That would be better. We'll insulate your home for half price. That way they'll get the work done and they'll get paid for it and people will actually like them. Hello, would you like your home insulated? No thanks, too expensive. Oh, how much do you think it would cost? Lots of money. We'll do it for free. What do you mean, for free? Yes, we'll do it for free because we believe that we've got to insulate every house up and down the country because we don't want any heat nipping out into the cold and warming up the planet as if the heat of your house is going to leak out and heat. I mean, goodness gracious, what do you think my chimney does? Heat comes out my chimney, can't capture all of it, and that's now heating up the world. Oh dear, I'm a bad person. Sandy Shore. Oh, it was Sandy Shore. There we go, Sandy Shore.
I don't think it's about heating up the world. I think it's more about the money spent on heating the house that's the heat is escaping from.
Well, it's none of their business, is it? I mean, if I want to heat my house and have the doors and windows open, it's none of anybody else's business but mine.
No, I'm not sure why.
I mean, if there was a shortage of gas or electricity and I was like wasting it, but there isn't because we just generate more. You know, we'll stick up another wind thing. A turbine, because we haven't had a windy year this year apparently. This is where it all turns on its head. We haven't got a windy year, so we haven't actually generated very much electricity from the wind, and we haven't.
And they want to add more to the Rampion.
Yeah, and they want to add more to the Rampion so that more of them can look limp, like blooming spent celery, and we haven't had a lot of sunshine this year, so the solar panels haven't done very much. So what we should have done, of course, is built a whole load of nuclear power stations. Oh, no, nuclear is very dangerous. But it's not that dangerous.
No, it's safest now
it's
than
safest
it's ever
energy,
been.
and it's the easiest form. Station Master's Choice says, if you insulate to the hilt and have triple glazing, you stop a flow of air and get sick. Exactly. I don't want to live in a house that's hermetically sealed. I don't want to fit the best. Do you remember Ted Moult from Everest? And he used to drop that feather in the adverts.
Yeah.
Fit the best, fit Everest. But, you've got to be on the top of a mountain with a few dead corpses from ages ago. Mallory lying there looking up at you going, you should have fitted Everest. Yeah, I'm fitting it. Won't be so cold as this. You're dead. Will you please pipe down?
Have we had any videos yet, by the way?
We have. We're going to play them in the next hour, which is coming up now. You don't want condensation. Somebody said that in my comments about the van. Said, now it's cold. You'll get condensation in the van. And I thought, and? That doesn't worry me. The condensation is on the roof. And because I haven't insulated it, or got stuff stuck to it, it doesn't go mouldy. It evaporates. Being a black van, as the sun hits it, and the sun does, ding, it evaporates very quickly. Yes, in the tan inn Ted Moult was. Good. Insulated houses are often damp due to condensation. Yeah, carbon capture, says Mark Burgess. Yeah, well, no point capturing it. They all want a bit of carbon now. I can't quite understand for this CO2 business. 1 minute they're trying to stop it, the next minute they want it. It's a confusing world. Ladies and gentlemen, we have videos. Thank you for the debate. It's lovely to have the debate in the first hour, but now we must go like a wallflower and look at some videos. I didn't get where I am today by not having at least some ventilation. Thanks. Right, what have we got in the video box tonight? What's first on our list, lovely Julia?
First on our list is Jonathan Fox with his guitar.
Jonathan Fox playing the guitar. He said he was a bit quiet, so he was a bit worried about it being a bit quiet, but I think it's okay. I think we can all hear it. So over to you, Jonathan.
Hello, Richard and Julia. I've not brought you a video for a little while, so something a bit different. I like to play my guitar in the evenings. What I have is a classical guitar, so it's a nylon string guitar, and it's got a cedar top, and it's the type of guitar that I like because it gives a nice warm sound. So yeah, I spend much of my evenings just finger picking away on the guitar. I'm very intermediate with my ability, but I still enjoy it. So I thought I'd attempt to record a little bit of myself, and I thought you'd probably like to hear something from an English composer, so I thought of John Dowland, who is from the 16th century, so going back 400 years or so, would you believe, and it is remarkable. He actually composed on the lute, which is kind of a predecessor to our modern guitar, but of course the guitar naturally follows on with the music that he composed. It was interesting, Richard. I know you talk a lot about our heritage in England, and we've got so much to be proud of, and John Dowland sits very comfortably in that, I think, with our musical history. But the point I might make as well is that I think a lot of what we have achieved in this country has become so because of our diversity and our willingness to travel and bring back the best bits that we find around the world, and that's what we should be very proud of. And John Dowland himself, although English, he went to study in Europe and then came back and served. I have to remind myself, served under Charles I as his lutist. But anyway, as I say, it's remarkable that you listen to his music now, and it's just timeless, even though it's 400 years old. So anyway, this piece that I'll attempt to play is called Orlando Sleepeth. It's quite a mellow piece, but it is, when played well, beautiful. But anyway, it's just me, I'm afraid, and I'm very intermediate, but I'll have a go for you. Thanks.
Well, that was lovely, wasn't it?
That was marvellous.
Marvellous.
Brilliant. Lovely to hear that. Thank you.
It's nice to see the hidden talents of our viewers, and now not so hidden.
Yeah. Didn't have a clue you played the guitar, so that was wonderful.
And so I was saying, there's to me, it sounded a little bit Spanish. I guess because I always think of the guitar in a classical format with people like Rodriguez, or whatever his name is, these Spanish ones that do the thing.
Like Carlos Santana.
And Julia then said, no, a Spanish guitar's got different string setup.
I think, well, the one I met had 3 nylon and 3 steel strings. I don't know if that's... Yeah, I think...
But
they said that was Spanish.
And Chris Michael White says sounded Tudor, and I suppose that's, that suddenly you say that. Of course, I forgot you said 1600s, but a very, very relaxing sound. You could sit there quite happily and chill.
Mm-hmm. That was definitely chill music.
Unless, of course, somebody comes forward with some logs, and then I can get the Essie going, and I'll be nice and warm. Thanks to Ray of Hope for the wonderful offer. What a lovely man. I'll bring up my van, and we'll see how many tons we can get it. I mean, a load of that would be lovely. Thank you so much, John. Really enjoyed that. That was great. So, next on our list, well, we could... it's up to you, Julia. You're picking. You're taking the.
Is that
pick.
Ray as in Ray of Hope?
Yes.
But should we have a second musical one right now?
Let's have another musical
yes,
one.
Yes, go
then.
for another musical one.
So Ray of Hope is in search of. His dummies are in search of England. Let's see what he's got lined up for us.
Steady.
Sorry, I was very emotional. We stood up there, and it was almost like an anthem, not the national anthem, but like a good old English anthem. There, I vow rather to thee, my country. Beautiful. We got the words here, and we were singing. Good old Gustav.
Intending to wave our flags.
Yes, good old Gustav Holst. But he wasn't English, was he? Or was he?
Gustav.
Oh yeah, Gustav
Holst. Yeah.
What nationality was he? But I was I don't know why I associate that with England, even if he wasn't German, was he? Anyway, I don't know. See, I don't know anything about it. But I love. Is that from the Planet Suite?
I don't know.
Is that the one that's from the Planet Suite that was turned into a hymn? Anyway, that was wonderful, Ray. Brilliant stuff. Very stirring and lovely. And it's amazing that wonderful keyboard of yours that can just churn out all those different tunes.
It just keeps giving, doesn't it?
Just keeps giving. So thank you very much.
And I love your models.
Glyn says he was born in Cheltenham. What, Gustav? Gustav.
Gustav.
Holst.
Oh wait, isn't that No.
What?
I was going to say, isn't that a French name, Gustav?
I don't know. I'm going to have to look
I
it up
don't
now.
rightly
I'm going to
know.
look it up. What nationality was Gustav Holst? Oh, he was English. He was English.
Yes, it's Jupiter from the planets,
Yes,
apparently.
there we go. I thought it was. I can't get his name.
Gustav.
Gustav Holst, Theodor Holst, was an English composer.
Oh, please don't do the
arranged-
accent.
I don't know why I thought he was German. I think Holst is what made me think he was German. Best known for his orchestral suite, The Planets. He composed many other works across the genres, although none achieved comparable success. 1874, he was born, died in 1934. And yes, there we are. I Vow to Thee, My Country. It was the sort of spin-off hymn, as I understand it. Once more, Unto the Breach, Dear Vobes. See, we learned something from this. And Linda Kane go, no, he's definitely English. Well, I was associated that particular music with English, but the Holst bit, I just thought, it must be German. I don't know why. And with the name Gustav, that's not a very English
Where
name.
his parents from is the question now.
Yeah. Is what Gustav, however you pronounce that, and I'm struggling desperately live on the thing, which just goes to what an idiot I am. Where is that? It's Swedish. It's a common name for Swedish monarchs. The name was entered the other language as in French. Oh,
Meaning God's staff or
in
famous
French.
guest.
It is Gustav. In Italian, oh right.
Oh, I suppose I'm pronouncing it French.
So if it was English, with his mates going, here, Gustav. Here, Gussie. Gus, come here, Gus.
Or Gus.
Or Gus. Here, Gustav. Depending on which part of the country it was. Or if he was down there in the here, Gustav, what you doing then? Are you doing that more of that composing, are you? That's nice, isn't it? What are you doing this week? Oh, the planet in the solar system. Or up there. Oh, what's that one then? Oh, Jupiter. I like that. What, that one? Uranus. You're being silly now, aren't you? You're being silly. You're taking me for Mickey, eh? I'm going to go and stick my arm at a cow. That's what I'm going to do. I vow to thee my milk. I vow to milk my cows, Gustav. With every Gustav, you get an Ethel.
Eiffel.
Oh, an Eiffel. Oh, yeah.
As in tower?
Yes, as in
Okay.
tower. Oh, is
Just
it?
making sure you got that.
Yeah, what's that on my head? Anyway, never mind all this gay banter, which is very good. We learnt, so I didn't know it was English, so there we go. English composer. Marvellous, you see. Ignorant as they come, me. That's why I do this show, to try and educate myself. So, thank
We'll be
you.
here
Forever. Yeah, see? That was thanks to a 1970s comprehensive school education. It's almost like they threw away the key with us boys. They just thought, what's the point trying to educate these boys? They didn't want to know. And it's a shame, really, because it's only in latter life you realise just how ignorant you really are and how limited your education is.
The more you know you need to know.
Yeah, and the more you know there is to know.
Yeah, that one.
And exactly. Is Richard okay? Says, I'm annoyed that I didn't realise. I thought he was German. Ray of Hope says, as I said, I could not get any English flags, so I used some French flags and drew a red cross on them. Well, it's very versatile.
Yeah.
Where did you get the French flags from? Right, we are moving on. Julia, what is on our list next?
Next we have Bernie in Tillingham.
Oh, Bernie and Tillingham. Yes, right. We may have to go back a stage
back
into
and
the
forth.
video box again.
Righto. It's
And
getting dusty in there.
Yeah.
You need to clean it.
I must clean it because
Cool,
all
Brian.
those videos, they just sort of little bits chip off on them, and sometimes some of the splices break. There's a little bit of the old acetone that used to put the things, and sometimes tape, the splicing tape, and bits and bobs. Anyway, Bernie.
Oh my gosh.
What?
Holst also wrote In the Bleak Midwinter. Huh. Didn't
Did
realise
he?
that. Apparently.
in the bleak
In the
midwinter.
bleak midwinter.
When the Vobes was small, have you seen the size of his head?
Bernie in Tillingham.
Early in the morn, in the not so bleak summer, His life was long, and there they came. Anyway.
We are at my final visit for this morning's filming. We're at the bridge over the River Tillingham on 100 House Lane. And I won't need to put in a caption because I have remembered what the Beckley Ironworks and Furnace became, and it was a watermill, which, as I said, burnt down in about 1900. These banks here mystify me because are they flood banks? They almost do look like flood banks, and yet is there really enough water flows through the Tillingham to justify that? I don't know. I honestly don't know. This is a stronger structure than other bridges. You see, this has got, it's proper brickwork. When they were built, I haven't the faintest idea. Now, a minute ago, there was a lovely sunrise. Good morning, sheep. How are you today? And off they go, look. There, you see, and you can hear the Tillingham flowing. But it's still not very wide, is it? And yet, look at these banks either side. Surely that river's never been powerful enough to carve that out. It almost as if the banks have been, I don't know, sort of dug out almost. Or are we actually looking at what was the original height of the Tillingham? I mean, this bridge hasn't been here. Obviously, it was built after the ironworks had gone, but all the while the ironworks were still here, could the Tillingham have been literally up to the top of the banks? It might make sense because when we get to Rye, as you will see, there is a sluice gate there now, which actually restricts how much water actually comes back and flow up the Tillingham, because it used to be tidal for a good 2 or 3 miles inland, and the sluice paid to all of that. So have the artificial controls further down the river actually limited the size of what can flow out? I don't know. It's certainly a mystery, and I've tried to read several sources of information. None of them give me any clue as to why the field should be that much higher than the level of the river here. Except, of course, all three, the Rother, the Tillingham and the Breed, are actually below sea level for a good few miles inland. That's a mystery. The next time we see the Tillingham will be when I get into Rye, as I leave you with a quick general view around the area here. I will say good morning from 100 House Lane, which is just 2 or 3 miles down the road from Rye, over that hill there. And I'm going to go home and have some breakfast. So, bye for now.
Well, how about that? interesting speculation. I said to Julia, I said, I wish you'd turn the camera around onto yourself as you're doing the speculation there, Bernie. It's lovely to see the water and everything, but you know when you're sort of thinking that through, it's nice to see the person's brain cogs tick, if that makes sense. You know, I know you don't like showing yourself, but I just think it would really be lovely as you're contemplate, because you know you really appreciate it when people are thinking and you see that they're thinking. But otherwise, we got that magic zoom doing its trick again, which was lovely, and the foliage was full out and it was nice and bright, so lovely.
Thanks again for another edition.
Because you've sent everybody else off to the loo with the trickling of the water.
So we'll give them a few minutes to come back, and then we'll play Bonnie's.
Absolutely, that's the last one we've got tonight. Is Bonnie at Stanmer Park. But thank you very much for that. Any interesting comments? One would have difficulty attempting to kick down the wall, says John B. Why would you want to? I don't know. A real stream, lovely to see, lovely greenery. Always spirit, says Woody Jenny, connecting to the water. One of our life-giving successes. Absolutely. Sources even.
In life.
In life. Thanks.
I do love it when you ask me a question, then you answer or carry on talking.
What was the question?
Are there any interesting...
Oh, yes. Are there any interesting questions?
Yeah, you got them. Ray of Hope is... Yes, I am just back from the loo.
Ah, well done. I clearly didn't get the French flag business.
Sensible Paul is saying, nice one, Bernie. Looking forward to watching the full-length one. Yes. I mean, because the French flag is... blue,
red, white and blue, isn't it?
Yeah, blue, white and red.
Yeah, well, it's got the same colours.
But in
but you must
chunk.
have...
So, unless you cut out the middle section...
I wasn't quite sure what it meant, really,
because
because...
out the colours.
Yeah, you had to get rid of the blue, didn't you?
Yeah, I didn't get it either, to be honest.
No, we sat there going...
To be honest...
Is that a joke, or
we did notice it, we just didn't get it.
Here we are, we have a caller.
We're silly.
We're very silly, and also we're quite ignorant.
Is this Ray?
I don't know. Hello, caller. Welcome to the show.
What ho,
Hello.
Hello, Andrew Norris, all the way from... Are you still in Croatia?
I sure am. I got back to Zagreb today. I've been in the village time pretty much.
Oh, lovely. Looking forward to more of your vids.
Yeah, I'm still posting every Saturday.
Fantastic. Marvellous stuff.
But think about the conversation earlier about where people belong, what their nationality is. And although I've been here for 18 or so years, I always felt that I was English, not just English, but Southern English, because that is the landscape that I identify with and have an emotional response to.
Yes.
My mother is German. She was born in Japan, but I have no affinity. I mean, I like the cultures, but I have no personal affinity with either of them. So I think a lot of the identification for me is how you emotionally respond to a place.
So what is it? What nationality is your father?
My father was English.
Right. If your father had been German, but you were brung up exactly the same as you say in England, would that change it?
I don't think so, because because I'm a painter and I respond to the landscape that I paint. That is where I feel I identify myself with.
So but what if your parents were Japanese? And I'm doing that deliberately because they well, for obvious reasons, really. And so you, to anybody looking at you, would think, oh, you're Japanese. But if your parents were Japanese and you were brought up in England exactly the same, would that still follow?
I really don't know. I mean, I doubt I'll be brought up in exactly the same way, because they'll be, they would have their identity with Japan, and probably the house would be filled. Actually, my mother's place has lots of Japanese artifacts and sculptures and pieces of pottery and ivory. So if my father was also Japanese, I would certainly look Japanese.
Yes.
But because they would bring their culture from Japan to England and would want to be reminded of it. So where I grew up amongst them, I'm sure that I would feel a much stronger Japanese influence. But because there's no German cultural identity in my parents' home, my mother's home now, I never felt any affinity to Germany.
So
Makes sense.
yeah, that makes sense. But isn't that a bit sad that your mum didn't bring a bit of Germanic culture into your life, as she was one part of your parents?
Well, I mean, her formative years were in Japan, and her mother, my grandmother, had to go back to Germany at the beginning of the war so that the boys of the family could enlist.
Right. So
Unfortunately.
did you say her formative years was in Japan?
Yes, of course. Yeah.
That was.
Yeah, I think her first 6 or 7, 8 years were in Japan.
Oh right. Oh okay.
And then after the war, my grandmother went back to Japan. I think it was 7 or 8 years that she hadn't seen her husband, my grandfather. And my mother was there until she met my father in the early 50s. My father went to Japan because he had a business opportunity there. And being a kind of sociable, gregarious type of person, he got involved in certain social clubs and theatre production. And he met my mother there. And so when they got married in Japan, they immediately came back to England to settle.
So now you don't have any children.
No.
And so, but do you think if you had children while you're living in Croatia, that they would feel English or Croatian?
Well, I mean, I never ever wanted to have children. That never even entered my kind of thought. But if it happened, then I would certainly want the child to be brought up bilingually.
Yes.
I mean, I kind of sad in a way that my mother didn't speak German to me when I was a child, but my parents separated when I was quite young, and so she was bringing up 3 children pretty much on her own, and she had her handful, and didn't really occur to her to actually sit down and spend time to try and teach me German. And I do remember at school when I was about 13, I started German language, but 13 is not the age you want to start a language, particularly when your mother is giving you extra lessons at home. And I remember putting up the Christmas decorations one year and having to go through the declination of verbs, and I hated it.
Yes.
And I gave up German after that. And it was the wrong age to start learning a language if your mother was a native speaker of that language.
Did you have a question?
No. I can hear you breathing on
But
the mic.
I mean,
Oh,
I
sorry.
don't feel that I'm missing anything by that. I feel completely fulfilled as I am.
How do the villagers view you after being there for so long?
From his videos, it looks like they see him as a local.
Yeah.
Slightly different.
They still think of me. I mean, half because the letter W is not in the Croatian alphabet. They can't pronounce my name, so they Croaticize my name. But if I meet someone, I just introduce myself. I say, my name is Englishman, Ingles, because they can't pronounce my name. They either say Andre or they say Engles, and I quite like cultivating that notion that I'm an outsider, because it gives me certain liberties that I can. Before, I mean, I don't do it now, but before I could just wander around with my camera, and I could switch it on if I encountered someone interesting who had a story to tell or something interesting to tell me about the history of the village, and they would perfectly accept that.
Whether they treat you as a slightly an outsider, they certainly seem to adore you anyway, and welcome you to the fold.
They see that I've invested time and energy in getting to know them, and promoting this village. I mean, this village is known now all over the world, America, Canada, Australia, where there are Croatian communities.
Yeah,
they follow the videos, and it's nice. And we have one guy called Robert who organizes these ancestral tours that Croatian origin people in America. They come here and they do research, looking for their family villages, and if they have perhaps some relatives, the bloodline is still continuing here. And he's been coming, he stops off in our village. He's been doing that for the past 9 years.
Wow.
And next year, because for him it's one of the highlights of the trip, because, when you go on a package tour, you see all the famous sites. Okay, you've
of
been
course.
there, done that. But the thing is about when they come to this village, the people on these tours, only then do they get a sense of how their ancestors lived.
Yes.
And for them, it's tremendously emotional.
Yes, they've got that, and they have a personal connection, which
course,
when you're on a package holiday or somewhere else, you're completely outside of it, and it's fascinating and it's interesting and a place.
It's really interesting.
But
yeah.
you don't have that so personal connection, whereas an ancestor of yours that may have lived in this village and did certain things that you can now almost do as well or see happening.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. And there was one woman some years ago who, she and her mother had spent 20 odd years looking for their ancestors, and the mother came to a nearby village where there was someone with the same surname as her great-great-grandfather, and they thought maybe yes, maybe no, but weren't sure, but they kept in touch. And then the daughter of this woman who had been searching for 20 years went online, and by mistake she put into the YouTube search engine the surname that she was looking for rather than Google, and she came up with one of my early videos, number 10, called The Village of the Dead. And she watched that, and she saw the names of the gravestones, and she compared them to her family tree. And after 20 years, she found great cousins, or cousins second removed, still living in the village. Who is a guy called Torner? You've been following my films. There's a guy called Torner who I sometimes film, and I've got a film with him coming up in dealing with the problem of wild pigs. But she found her second cousin still alive in the village, and it was remarkable. And she came immediately to my village to meet her family, and several cousins living in the village, and they put on a wonderful event for her. It was a tremendously emotional experience. And of course, I filmed it all. This is kind of 8, 9, 10 years ago.
Yeah,
But,
absolutely.
Yeah, we're still in touch, of course.
What an amazing story, and what amazing thing to happen. If you hadn't have filmed those things, she would never have known that they existed, or she may have known, but she would never have met them, because
Sure.
The power of YouTube.
the power.
That reminds me of.
Absolutely.
Did you hear about there was a young lass who had been travelling in America, doing it basically a travel vlog with her partner, and they'd had an argument. The police had been involved.
Gabby Petito.
That's the one.
Yeah.
And they actually found her body, because he then went home. I'm explaining to Richard now. He then went home without her, and it was like, where is she? Where is she? And then they found her body because of another YouTuber had filmed that stretch and seen the van.
Oh, I see.
And the body was not far from where that location was.
Yeah, I mean, it's been extraordinary watching that. And I watched, there was an hour and 15-minute body cam footage from the police when they stopped the van. They were following the van and saw that they were driving erratically, and they were having an argument. And the policeman could not have been nicer. He was charming, he was really kind, gentle and considerate, and he separated them. And he found a hotel, I think, for the boyfriend.
That's right.
And that she took the van and went off driving, and they separated for that night. And, God knows how he must feel now that, a few days after that something terrible happened.
Oh, I see. So it wasn't the boyfriend that did it. Something else.
We don't know.
We don't know.
A lot of evidence is pointing to that. He better come out with some really damn good
excuse.
excuse.
This is current. This isn't
this
years
is
ago.
current. No, this is current.
I see. Oh, I beg your pardon. Sorry, I thought this was 5-10 years ago.
This is now. Yeah, I mean, I haven't caught up with the news today, so I don't know whether they found him. But, and the parents of this boyfriend are not saying anything.
No.
They must surely know something.
Well, listen,
It's
time
tragic, really.
has run against
Yeah,
us.
you've got Bonnie's video.
We may have to put this on for next because
No,
put
play
it on. Put it on.
No, really no, no.
Okay.
All right.
I shall hang up.
Yeah,
I shall
no,
hang
thank
up.
you so much for calling in, Andrew. It's lovely to hear you.
Yeah, good to hear you. I've been away for a little bit, so I'm back now.
Oh, fantastic.
Fab.
Good man.
Okay.
Enjoy
Okay,
yourself.
you too.
Thanks a
Thank
lot.
you,
Soon,
ladies.
bye.
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 There we are, lovely Andrew Norris, been away, but he is back now. And it was a lovely conversation. That would like to have extended that really, but of course time is ticking away. So we will end with Bonnie's video of Stanmer Park. Let's nip down there and see what she's up to.
I'm down in Stanmer village. Looking at the pond. Just been walking around the graveyard where there was a grave. The inscription said that the man had died of heat stroke in the harvest field at the age of 61. It was quite hard in the good old days, I think. Some lovely old yew trees here. There's the church. The old graveyard. Hear the road noise in the distance. It's rather a nice pond. You see the railings have grown, become embedded in the tree. I think I'll hop round the other side then.
We made a video there, Julia.
We did.
We made a video there. Oh, it must have been in 2018, probably. Long time ago. Thanks, Bonnie. Very much appreciate that. Nice bit of relaxing down after our very lovely midweek show. So, back again on Friday. Hope you'll join us then. Don't forget to send your videos to richard@vobes.com via WeTransfer. Information in the description down below. Thanks to Julia for coming in. Sorry we've overrun a little bit. Thanks to Judith for holding up the spanner and making sure everybody's behaving themselves. Thanks to John, to Ray, to Bernie, and to Bonnie. Andrew for ringing in, and to you guys for
commenting
and keeping us going, chatting about whatever comes to mind.
And thank you, Richard, for putting it all together.
Oh, it's all right, you know. I woke up this morning in Suffolk, and now I'm back in jolly old Worthing. So all good fun.
Fabulous.
Take care, look after yourselves. All the best. Have a good one. Until next time.
Good night, everybody.
Good night. Good night.
Oh, yeah, under there.